Larissa Clark is a political economy major with a minor in business administration. She has a 3.94 grade point average, and at present her career plans are uncertain. At Hillsdale, she attends the University Christian Fellowship, takes part in the Soma Ministries and the Unite Ministries, and belongs to the College Republicans, the Praxis Political Economy Club, and the Young Americans for Freedom. She also works as both a student mentor and a resident advisor in her dormitory. She previously took part in a Fullbridge business program, interned for the Young Americas Foundation in Washington, D.C., and joined in mission trips to the Philippines and Nepal. Larissa is one of 2 children. Her sister Tiana is a university graduate. The family lives in Huntington, Indiana. Her father is a professor, and her mother is a video editor for a media corporation.
Thank you. It was the first semester of my freshman year at Hillsdale, and I was on a plane wearing a gray Hillsdale sweatshirt and struggling to fit my carry-on into the overhead compartment. You know, that awkward moment when there's a whole line of people behind you waiting to get to their seats, and you're the one holding them up because your bag just won't fit. So there I was, struggling in front of everyone, when all of a sudden I heard a voice behind me say, "You're a Hillsdalian. You've got this." I shoved my bag the rest of the way in and spun around just in time to see an older gentleman whom I'd never met before give me a nod and slip into his window seat. Now, when this occurrence happened, I was just learning what it meant to be a Hillsdalian, as that kind gentleman referred to me as. But throughout my years here, I have gained a better understanding of what exactly it means to be a Hillsdalian, and I want to share that with you. I've heard it said when people give you advice, they're really just talking to themselves in the past. This rings true for me today. One thing I wish I would have known as a freshman is that being a Hillsdalian requires humility, and a lot of it. We are here to learn, which means that we might have to admit that we don't know everything, that we may be wrong at times, and that's okay. There's a sign that you pass as you drive into town. It reads, "Hillsdale, it's the people." I laughed the first time I read it, but it didn't take me long to realize how true that sign is. Hillsdale really is all about the people. Dr. Whalen once said, "The conversation of all is a series of lectures to each." What does that mean? It means we need to stop trying to prove ourselves and instead listen and learn, because we are surrounded by some of the greatest minds in our nation. So we can't let our education stop at the doorway of the classroom. We must engage ourselves in lunch discussions, because that's where some of our greatest learning occurs. We can't just try to justify our own beliefs, but instead, we must humble ourselves and be willing to hear other people out, willing to be wrong, willing to swallow our pride and shift our views. Because being a Hillsdalian means you do whatever it takes to pursue truth. I've also learned that being a Hillsdalian means effort is everything. I remember being terrified my first few weeks here that I was going to fail every single class I was in. But I've learned that if you put the effort in, you'll get the results out. Yes, this school is rigorous, but you're up for the challenge. You wouldn't have applied if you weren't, let alone have been accepted. Colossians 3:23 says, "Whatever you do, work heartily, as for the Lord, not for men." That verse has been an encouragement and an anthem for me at Hillsdale. I've learned that not everyone catches on to concepts at the same pace. Some of us have to put in more hours than other people in order to understand something. It takes me a lot longer to write a paper. I will get the job done, but it can seem like it takes me 3 times longer than some of my friends. But here's the truth. We all learn differently. So don't fall into the comparison trap. Don't get caught up comparing yourself to others. Don't obsess on your weaknesses, but invest in your strengths. Being a Hillsdalian means you know that hard work and a willing spirit can take you anywhere, regardless of where you're starting from. Lastly, I've learned that being a Hillsdalian means you are constantly challenging yourself. I once heard it said, to be outstanding, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I have a personal mantra that is along the same lines. I tell myself, if it doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. And I have to tell myself this often. Obviously, we do not want to live our lives in the confines of fear. But at the same time, a little bit of fear is a healthy thing. It keeps you on your toes. It pushes you to do more and to be more. I believe that if you're not being stretched, then you're not growing. Go to office hours with that professor that you feel completely intimidated by. Take one class each semester that scares you. As T.S. Eliot said, if you're not in over your head, how do you know how tall you are? Don't let your fear paralyze you. Let it inspire you. Because it means you're stretching yourself. You're growing. You'll never be ready if you keep waiting to be. So, when it's negative 20 degrees out and you're trekking to your 8 a.m., you're a Hillsdalian. You've got this. When it's 3 a.m. and you still haven't finished your 15-page research paper due the next day, remember, you're a Hillsdalian. You've got this. Parents, when your child hugs you today and says goodbye, look them in the eye and remind them, you are a Hillsdalian. You've got this. When facing the impossible task, the incomprehensible thought, the infeasible situation, always remember, you're a Hillsdalian. You've got this. Today, you all become Hillsdalians. And you get to devote the next 4 years to studying how to live and love well, to consider the beautiful and pursue truth. What a gift. And 4 years from now, when your time comes to take what you've learned here and to go change the world, remember, you're a Hillsdalian. You've got this.